Hey folks, it's Eugene here, and today what I'm going to be doing is a Vision 3D update video. We have recently released version 1.3.1, and so I want to go through some of the changes and some of the, just where things are and what some of the new enhancements are here. So we are going to jump right in, and first off, in the menu across the top, these icons, a couple of things are changed. So one thing for sure is we have a new icon here, and so you'll see that we have the new, we've got the open, and then we've got this, looks like a bunch of layers on top of each other. So that's called the scene states icon. Okay. So I'm going to go through that separately just so you see what that is. But also, if you're looking at the menu across here or the icons and you notice that you're missing all these buttons that used to be there. Well, they've all been wrapped up underneath this little camera tag icon. So basically any of the image tags or the audio tags and things like that, they're all here now, including an audio tag. So that wasn't there before. We have a URL tag as well. So all of them are wrapped up under this one. It just keeps things a little bit neater. Now, another thing that you're going to notice when you bring in a point cloud is performance. So I've got this roadway scan that I did with Recon 3D, and this was done in Germany. But if I click on this, it's called I just call it EL Road. And if I go to my properties here and I scroll down, at the bottom it says enable interactive level of detail. Now you'll find that if you have point clouds that are like 100 million, 150 million points on that order, maybe a little bit bigger, you're going to need to turn this on. Okay, just the performance just is dramatically improved. So if I turn this and I get close, you'll see that when I move the point cloud, it's going to decimate the point cloud. So points are going to be disappearing and then they're going to pop right back in. So if you look at my screen, you can see that I got a few of these little holes and stuff like that. And when I stop moving, okay, everything kind of snaps back and it looks solid. If I get a little bit closer, it might look a little bit more obvious. And basically what this does is while you're moving the point cloud or translating or rotating, whatever, it just improves the performance and then you can let it go. Now, in this case, I don't have a lot of points here. So if I scroll up here, let me see. Yeah, it's 25 million points about for this point cloud. So that's not really a lot, but if I uncheck it, then you'll see that when I rotate this around, all the points are there. It doesn't try to decimate. The performance is about the same because it is a small point cloud, but if you try this on a point cloud with 150 or 200 million points, you're definitely going to notice a difference. Okay, so make sure you check this. This should pop on by default. I think once you get over 20 million points, it'll turn itself on. But just have a look and make sure that it is on, and you'll see that the performance is much better. Okay, next thing we're going to be covering here are logos. So you can now add a logo, a custom logo to your editor here. So what you can do is in the settings, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that over here it says logo image, and there's a 3 dots menu, and you can say show logo in the exported project. So in the viewer, and preview the logo in the editor. So what you have to do is you hit the 3-dot menu, you browse to where the file is, and then you can turn it on. So I'm going to switch it on, and you'll see in the top right here, it says Recon 3D or R3D logo. You have choices where you can place it. So you have bottom left, bottom right. Let's say I want the top center. Okay, now I put it there. And you also have the logo size. So you can sort of make this bigger or smaller. Now, just so you know, this is a PNG file with a transparency around the circles. So whenever you are preparing these, you may want to have a transparency channel. You can do that in Photoshop or some other image editing program, so the background isn't showing. But if you had a square logo or something with text, whatever, that would be absolutely fine. And you can also play with the opacity. So if I want it to be, somewhat transparent or whatever, I can play with that as well. Okay. That logo for customizing your projects may be quite helpful to you. Okay, another thing is going to be measurements. So before, measurements were not locked completely. So now if I take a measurement and I click on one point and I click on, let's say, this other vehicle here, I've got this, and I've got this distance measurement in my hierarchy. And if I lock it, what'll happen is I can't move it. Okay. So even if I click on the ends of this, normally I should be able to readjust the distance between these two things. I can't do it now. I have to unlock this and then I can drag this to another location. Okay. So, if you have a distance or something that you want to sort of keep fixed in place to these points, then you just go ahead and you can lock them. Now, if I move this vehicle here, forward or whatever, and I've got it locked so I can't select it, but let me click on this. Let's see if it'll let me do this. I got to unlock it. There we go. And I move this. What you'll notice is because the one distance point was on top of the roof, that has been moved here. Okay. So it moves with the car. So it stays fixed to whatever point it was attached to. So just keep that in mind. Oh, we also have, we've done some things with snapping and image tags and things like that. I'm not going to go through with that, but I am going to go through the viewpoint. So let's say you want to get into a certain image or a certain perspective, something like this, let's say. And before, when you had a viewpoint, you could just look at it from this particular perspective, but you really couldn't do much else. If you tried to hit the mouse button and rotate around, you would move out of this position. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the tags. I'm going to go to the add a viewpoint, click like this. All right. So it added a viewpoint. Now it says show the camera frustum. So if I move out of this position, you'll see that I've got the viewpoint there. Okay. So it's just right over here. I'm going to double click and I'm going to fly back into position. Now, if I rotate, you'll see I move out of position. Okay. So that's not what I want. What I want to do is I want to lock camera on enter. So I'm going to press on that. And now I'm going to double click to get back in here. Now, when I rotate, I don't move out of position. Okay. I'm basically stuck at this position and I can just rotate around. So if you think about a 360 image and that's sort of like being locked in that bubble view, that's kind of the same thing. So let's say, for example, I wanted to create a viewpoint inside of this vehicle at the driver's eye height. I could do that. And then when I move around, I'm just looking at the point cloud from a very specific position and I'm not moving out of that position. So that's something that you can do. If you want to move out of this position though, you want to go back into the normal viewing mode, just hit escape and it'll bounce out of this and then you can just kind of move around as usual. Okay. Okay, the big one now is going to be scene states. And I've already set some up here, but I'm going to show you exactly what they are. Now, this was in the previous 1.3 version, but we've made a change. So let me go ahead and hit the scene states button. And I've got a few here that I've made. And I can pull this out. Let me just put this out on the side here up on the top so you get a better view of what this is. And I can modify this a bit. So the idea behind scene states is that you can set up objects in a particular position or orientation and then turn their visibility on and off. Now, previous to 1.3.1, it was just visibility. So let's say I wanted to show this vehicle here at 4 seconds before impact. Then I click on 3 seconds. Okay, now you see that it's moved and then I can go to impact and there it is. It's on impact. Now you'll also notice that on impact, okay, I've substituted the cars. So I've got the damaged vehicles in place here. So if I go back to 4 seconds, okay, they're back out this way. So I've got these two vehicles and then I've got 3 seconds. Okay, something like that. And then I've got impact. So these states are states of visibility and they're also states of translation and rotation. So let me go ahead and just make one scene state so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. So from here, I need to make sure that these are selectable and unlocked. So right now I can see that I can't. So I got to unlock this one and I need to lock this other one here. So let's say after this position, after impact, there's a post-impact position. So maybe this car went forward and maybe this car also went forward a bit like that. And then I don't know, maybe it rotated or the wheels went. So this is the position right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the plus sign. So this is state 4. I'm going to double click and I'll call this post impact. Okay. And I'm going to hit the save button. Just click on save. So that basically locks everything in place. So if I go back to impact, I'm here. If I go back to post impact, now you see that they've moved again. So if you want to set up a whole number of different scenarios here, you can set up, 20, 30 of these different states, turning things off and on, and also moving them and orienting them in different positions inside of Vision 3D. It's a very, very powerful tool. Okay, well, that's the majority of it here. And there are some other updates that we've made. They're just like some background things, little performance and little enhancements, point picking and just getting a little bit more accuracy. One thing I will point out that has been there for a little while, but I just want people to know about this. If you go up over here and you click down, it says align the center point, align the ground point, and align a ground plane. Now, align the center point. If I click on an object like this sewer down here, let me center that, just so you know what it does. When you click on a point, it'll make it the 0, 0, 0 point. Okay, so let's say this sewer over here, I want it to be 0, 0, 0. I'm just going to click down. I'm going to go make that the center point. And if I click the center of the sewer, boom, you'll see that if I go to the bottom here, where the axes come together, that's the 0, 0, 0 point. Okay, so I've just sort of moved everything over now. The other one is, let's say I take the ground plane, and I'll just pick on that here. Actually, I need to unlock it so that I can translate it. I'm going to pick on that again, and let me drop it down. Let's say when the point cloud came in, it was really, really low or something like that. And you can see the grid is much higher than the roadway. So what I can do here is I can go align the ground point. So all it's going to do is whatever point I pick on, the Z value, okay, the up and down value, the vertical value will be zeroed out. So I'll click on this. I'll just click on a point here like that, and it knocks that point right up to the 0 level. Okay, very, very easy for alignment. There is another one here. I'm not going to do it, but it's align a ground plane. And the idea here is that if you bring in an object and it isn't aligned nice and flat on the ground or whatever, you can just pick 3 points that form a plane and it will align them as well. Okay, well, that's it. Just a short one, a very quick update, but try those scene states out. That one is a really interesting one, and I think you'll find it can be really useful when you're trying to show a number of different scenarios. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.